Nice beaver.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Oh, the reason I play that soundbite, I saw this last night and I posted it on my socials because here's the thing, guys. I don't know if this is completely funny or if it's traumatizing, but since I'm immature, I'm going to lean on funny. Okay? If it happened to my family, I'd be pissed. For a couple months. Then afterwards, be like, oh my God, was that not hilarious or what? So there's this family fishing on the side of a creek in New Jersey. I thought it was Canada at first, but it's New Jersey. Okay. Doesn't matter. But anyway, so this family's doing that. Then a beaver approaches them and starts going after the family. And then it gets a hold of an 8-year-old and starts gnawing on the kid's like thigh. And then at some point, they chuck the beaver back into the water. I'm going to play you the sound of the person that was recording the whole incident because the clip I'm going to play you is about 20 seconds. But it sounds like that this had been going on for a couple minutes or so. Now, I'm going to play this for you, and I'll try to do play-by-play, okay?
I was getting attacked by a fucking beaver.
Yeah, the beavers. The family's trying to get the beaver off. They're in the water, 3 of them. You got a yappy dog.
My fucking God.
The beaver goes after him. Now they're trying to kick at the beaver. And the kid threw the beaver in the water. Dude, he chucked
I was
him.
getting attacked by a fucking beaver.
Oh, apparently it restarts on the plane. What the fuck? Here's the thing. Animal control went back and captured the beaver. And they're testing it to see if it has any sort of, rabies or something like that. Here's my thought, and I don't know enough about beavers. Scotty, that's not surprising. Am I right, guys? Yeah. I'm saying that you didn't get laid a lot. Okay. We don't need to bring that up, okay? Gosh darn it, Connery. Anyway. I don't know when they typically have their babies. The thing that popped out to me was there's probably babies nearby, or at least, maybe not brand new babies, but the family nearby as far as the beaver goes. And it was just trying to protect its nest. If you're a beaver expert, let me know. DeHuffPodcast@gmail.com. Scotty, I'm a beaver expert. Connery, you are not this type of beaver expert. Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing, right? No, it's not. Okay? Go away, please, for the love of God. Anyway, so I posted that on my socials. Josh S. wrote, "Attacked by a Beaver is the working title of my coming-of-age story about a frat house and a sorority full of weirdos next door." Josh, what the fuck are the chances of that? Wow. Lead character, his name is Richard, but he goes by Dick. That's so crazy. It's sad, though, because it attacked an 8-year-old. And that's going to be traumatizing for them. He's never going to be the same. He's going to have a fear of beavers. So that's how it happens. Connery, no, we're not going down that. We're not. No. He's 8. Stop it. You guys read into whatever he just said. I'll get a letter. I'm going to get a letter. It's going to be by somebody that is angry and they're not actually in the situation. Anyway, I need to stop pointing out what I just said. Anyway, be careful of aggressive beavers if you're in New Jersey. I think we all learned something today, right? Those New Jersey beavers, they'll fuck you up. I'll tell you what. It's just funny though too when you watch the video because they picked up. It's a big ass beaver, and they pick it up and they chuck it in the water. And that stupid dog wouldn't shut up. If you were a good dog, you'd go in there and attack the beaver. Come on. That dog's sleeping outside, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, guys, we got a great We got great headlines coming your way today. I'm going to talk about my random celebrity encounters, and there's a lot more than I realize. And the reason I bring this up is I was talking to Coach Carl and Coach Brandon the other day, and they threw out like my Terrell Davis story, and then I said some other ones, and I'm like, God, I have a lot of random interactions with celebrities, so I'm going to give those to you. Okay, how to deal with speeders in the neighborhood. A horse DJ is coming to Denver. Yeah, I did not misspeak on that one. A questionable, kind of pornographic move by a doctor that ended up being pure brilliance. What not to do if you're in the Secret Service. And coming up next, a humiliated United Airlines passenger was soaked head to toe while on the plane, and nobody seemed to give a shit. It's wild. We're going to get into that coming up next. But real quick, make sure you hit the subscribe button, interact with the show any way you can, leave a comment, give a review of the show, give it a thumbs up, whatever. All platforms are different, but if you could do that, that'd be great. And make sure you enable the notifications. That way, every time there's a new episode, you can go ahead and listen to it. Or you can also enable automatic downloads on, say, Spotify and other platforms for audio, and it hardly takes up any space. It's really kind of bizarre, like how little space it takes up. So go ahead and do that as well. But I think what we need to do now, guys, enough of the beaver talk, okay? Scotty, there's never enough beaver talk. Connery, are you going to be chiming in a lot today? You know what? It seems like it. It just feels right. Since you started the show talking about beavers, I figure, why not stick around? Okay. Anyway, here we go. Let's jump into those headlines.
Let's go! Let's go!
And now, here are the headlines.
Oh, why are these pants moist?
Well, probably because this guy was on a United Airlines flight and he's sitting there. There's video of it, but he had like music and shit like that or whatever. And it's like from the overhead compartment, just all of a sudden, it just starts leaking a liquid. He couldn't tell if it's water or what. So he tells, he hits the button to get the flight attendant, and I guess they were delayed on getting to him. I will say this. If you hit the button, there's probably other people that have pressed buttons for something else. You just got to wait in line. Wait your turn. I have, United's back on that one. It's not like they go, oh, no, this guy's getting squirted on in the back aisle. Scotty, what are you talking about now? I wasn't really listening. Now you're talking about a gentleman getting squirted on on a United Airlines flight? Connery, not the way you think. Not the way you think. Okay, I'll be listening. So that's why they were delayed. But they show up, and he's like, he has water or some sort of liquid on his face, his shirt, his pants, whatever. And they're like, well, I don't know what it is. It seems to have stopped. So he kind of lets it go, but then it happens again, like say, I think it was like 5-10 minutes later, and it's getting all over him. And the crew comes over. They don't know what to do. They're going through. They can't figure out where it's coming from. So they stick a bunch of napkins up where it's coming out of, like one of the cracks. And Scotty, you said there's liquid coming out of the cracks. Connery, seriously? Come on. Anyway, so they stick a bunch of napkins up there, and it basically does nothing because all of a sudden the dam burst and it just, wet napkins everywhere. So he's furious. They can't figure it out. He goes and complains to United, and they're like, here's a $130 voucher. Do you think he deserves more than that? Because part of me thinks yes, because that's frustrating. I don't know how long the flight was. It doesn't matter. It could be an hour flight or longer. And I feel like, give him a refund for his ticket and give him another I don't know. Give him something else. Because that can't be good. It can't be good. If there's some mysterious liquid dripping on you while you're on a flight, they didn't even offer to move him. And apparently there was open seats. Part of me says, oh, shame on you, United. But that being said, the more I think about it, if there's an open seat, you tell them I'm moving. Don't give it up. Don't leave it up to them. You're getting poured on. You tell them, because you're a grown-ass man, I need to move, and I'm moving. Okay? Grab my shit. Right? That's kind of on him. Kind of on him. But the staff should have said, okay, you know what? This is unacceptable. You can't be getting poured on. You're not paying for the golden shower ticket. No, that's that guy over there. Oh shit, switch seats. I like the golden shower ticket. That's an upgrade. That's gross. That's gross. What would you expect if that happened to you? Would you expect the full refund of your ticket and more, or just the refund? That's just, and I'm sure there's some people out there that have been flight attendants or are. How would you handle this situation? I don't know what the right answer is. It just seems disgusting. Ugh. It's probably some sort of air conditioning type, not fluid, but just like condensation that built up and somehow it made its way that way. Who knows? Who knows? This is bizarre. A Secret Service officer was arrested in Florida after allegedly being caught exposing himself and pleasuring himself in a hotel hallway following a security assignment connected to President Donald Trump. According to reports, hotel guests said the off-duty good play on words there followed them before security later found him on the 6th floor with his pants down. The officer has since been placed on administrative leave while the incident is investigated. Should you not do that? Is that frowned upon? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, FYI, don't be jerking it in the hallway. Doesn't matter what your job title is, okay? So, exclusive audio. Not really. This is fake, okay? I don't need somebody coming after me. But alleged follow-up audio, somebody asked Trump, well, like, what was the situation like? What were you experiencing?
I also saw a lot of very physically strong, really attractive law enforcement people come through those doors.
Okay. Sorry, I had to play that. It's so random. Come on, guys. I get it. We talked about it the other day. I don't care how horned up you are. Don't be jerking it in the hallway. Nobody wants to see that. There's no scenario where somebody's like, God, I wish I could open my door and there'd be some creepy guy with his pants down wanking it in the corner. Open your door. Oh, there is a God. The fuck? I feel like I'm going to get a lot of hate from this. It's joking around, criminy. Goodness gracious. A man was walking home one night. He's about 29 years old. And he was in Queens. And he started experiencing heart palpitations at right around 140 beats per minute. And it should be between 60 and 100. And then he goes into a hospital. They start checking him out. And before they start doing more, tests on the guy, the doctor goes, let's do a gastrointestinal check for gastrointestinal bleeding by performing a routine digital rectal exam. I don't know how. I feel like we're missing a big chunk of the story. Because it's like, oh, my heart is palpitating. I have an idea. Let's check his ass. I am not a scientist.
What can you do? Medicine's not a science.
Well, Well, anyway, so the doctor proceeds to stick his finger up the guy's back end, and that's all it took. The guy's heart rate went down immediately, down to 80 beats per minute, to the point where even months later, the guy hasn't experienced it again. What the fuck? That's crazy. Scotty, what's even crazier is that wasn't a doctor at all. Scotty, that's where you're supposed to play that sound effect. Oh, sorry. Okay. Scotty, that wasn't a doctor at all. Flawless. I feel like, okay, again, if you're a doctor, somebody comes in there with heart palpitations, you're like, instead of doing stuff, putting those things on their chest and stuff, if one of your fellow doctors is just like, okay, all right, go ahead, pull your pants down. Let's go check out that anus. Would you not pull him aside and go, come on, man, come on. Listen. I know you do things differently. You're the bad boy of medicine, right? You're like Dr. House, only perverted. I don't think this is gonna call for sticking your finger up his butt. Oh, get out of my way. I do as I please. And then he cures the guy. Another day, another illness cured by sticking a finger up somebody's back end. Wow. Yes. Is that a thing? Let's ask our resident scientist. Is that a thing where, you know what, you just bypass all the heart stuff and you're like, let's just go ahead and check the butt?
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
You didn't answer the question, Neil. Is that a thing or not?
I'm Neil deGrasse Tyson, bitch.
Okay. Well, you really laid it out for us. I appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. A woman left her stressful teaching job to earn $100,000 a year as a professional cuddler. We've talked about people doing this before. She charges right around $150 an hour, and usually per day, she only works like 3 hours a day. That's insane. I mean, good for her. Good for her. But I just, listen, you guys have to have a lot of shit going on in your life if you have to call somebody up and be like, can you just cuddle with me? I mean, think about that. Where are you at in your life where you got to go, I have $150. Yeah, I can justify paying somebody to come over and cuddle with me. Scotty, I used to have that job too. You did. Connery? You used to be a professional cuddler. Yes, but you know what? I only lasted a day. It didn't end well.
He nutted on my leg!
Yeah, I feel like that's a job that only a woman could do. Otherwise, it's just guys being hornballs and they're just going to try to end up sleeping with their client. Okay? Oh, you called a professional cuddler. His name's, Rico. And you're going to go over there, cuddle with him. And he's like, how are you feeling? And she's like, your voice is so soothing in your big masculine chest. What's poking me? Right? It's not going to end well. But that being said, that's kind of a dangerous gig for her because guys are perverts. Good for her for making a lot of money. I hope she has a lot of security around it because, let's be honest, we know this. This is not new. Guys are perverts. They are. They're disgusting. But good for her. I just can't imagine that that's my gig. She's thinking outside the box. Obviously, she knew enough people were desperate for this, this service that she's like, I'll just start doing it. If your significant other had that as a job, would you feel comfortable with it? I wouldn't. I would have to sit in the corner. sharpening a knife or cleaning a gun the entire time. Whoop, 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 whoop. That's a little too much cuddling. Am I right? Right? That's crazy. Here's something wild. I got to be honest, I never thought I would see something like this. There's a DJ coming to Denver, Colorado. She's starting her tour, her first ever tour. And apparently she identifies as a horse. That's a thing. That's a thing, guys. The picture that Fox 31 posted, it's her. It's this lady. She's wearing a horse mask, I assume. I don't know if she had surgery. I don't know. I don't know. Some might say nay. That is a mask. And I say nay. I don't know what I'm talking about. She's wearing. That's just bizarre, guys. I get it. We're all wanting to be our own people, and it's okay to be creative. It's okay to think outside the box. Maybe I don't get it a lot of the times. That's fine. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But it's really fucking hard to not judge somebody that identifies as a fucking animal. It's not even the same species. Okay? When you look at that, does that make you go, come on? Somebody didn't tell her no growing up. That's what it was. If you want to be a horse, honey, you can be a horse. No. That's where you go, you know what? No, enough. You're not a fucking horse. That's going to make people mad. But let's be honest here, guys. That's just bizarre. I don't know how I'd feel if it was somebody I knew, a family member or a coworker or a friend, whatever, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, Scott, guess what? I'm going on tour. Oh, that's fantastic. What are you going to be doing? Well, I'm a DJ. Oh, sweet. Yeah, and they pull up the flyer, and it's like them dressed up as a horse. Be like, why are you dressed as a horse? Because I identify as a horse, you inconsiderate prick. Do you? I don't get it. Does it mean it's wrong? No. Does it open the doors for criticism? Absolutely. Let's be honest. If your best friend all of a sudden said, I identify as a horse, you're telling me that you're not going to be judgy? Maybe not to their face, but definitely behind their back. You're like, what the fuck? He identifies as a horse or a cow or a dog? Come on. But what do I always say? As long as they're not hurting somebody, I guess it's fine. I don't get it, but it's fine. I get this. We need to jump into the mailbag.
Mailbag. You've got mail.
This first one comes in from Carl. He's responding to the other day when I was talking about people that were driving too fast in neighborhoods. He said, my wife has a cousin that stands in front of his house and hides behind a tree with a hairdryer pretending to be a speed radar gun. Maybe you should try that to see if it helps slow down neighborhood traffic. I don't have a tree to hide behind. But that would be funny. Don't you think you have to have some sort of outfit, like dark clothes, like a collared shirt? Make it look like you're a police officer, but you're not trying to pretend to be an officer. You'd probably get a ticket, wouldn't you? I imagine there's police officers that listen. As long as you're not wearing a fake badge and trying to pull people over, could you do that and not get in trouble? I want to know. Or I have some lawyers that listen as well. I have a neighbor that when his kids were little and people would speed through the street, and if he was out there, the dad, he would either throw or kick, say, a soccer ball in the middle of the street to freak out the drivers, and they'd immediately slow down. I gotta be honest, that one would freak me out. Like, fuck. Or throw out a dummy. Oh, that'll give somebody a heart attack. Then the next thing you know, somebody swerves and then runs into an actual human or into somebody's house or a vehicle. Then what? Then what? Then you're in trouble. You're in a lot more trouble. How about this, people? Don't speed through neighborhoods. Oh, that's a weird concept. I mentioned this the other day, and I said I was going to follow up with it with the full information. I thought this was hilarious. I don't remember what show it was in regards to, but it's always interesting to me that when you start reaching new people that could be potential listeners or viewers of this show, you're going to get people that just it's not their cup of tea. So on YouTube, this person, your Google Meister 6745, responded to one of my episodes and said, "Too many sound drops, unlistenable, topic dragged out too long, blocked, and none of your stupid videos will pop up again." So what's funny is, well, that was dumb dash whatever, said, "I think someone got offended, guessing this hit too close to home, must drive a big truck." That's right. It was the same one that Carl's responding to. Because I was talking about the person that almost rear-ended us was driving a lifted truck and speeding through the neighborhood. And then I didn't get it, but somebody also wrote to this person, said, "I'm guessing this guy has steel truck nuts on the back of his bumper." Whatever. And then what's funny is I go back and listen to it, and I'm like, I don't understand what offended them other than that. Other than, whatever. Who cares? I thought that was funny. Oh, good stuff. Hey, listen, it's not for everybody, and that's okay. I'm perfectly fine with that. The people that do listen and do get it, I appreciate them. Everybody else, not so much. Not so much. So this got brought up today on social media, but it was also brought up to me, I think, last week by Coach Carl and Coach Brandon, because Carl said something random about me sticking my finger in Terrell Davis's mouth, blah, 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 blah. And I said, that's a weird claim to fame I have. And then Brandon said something about my interaction with Todd Helton. I was like, oh my God, I got a lot of random celebrity interaction stories. So I figure, why not do this? We're going to give you some random celebrity encounters. You're welcome.
Name dropper.
Name dropper. Let's see. If you listen to country music, I met this guy when he was just starting out, and I was talking to him over at KYGO, which is a country station here in Denver, and I had worked for the sports station, and they always send stuff out when there's new artists coming over to the studio to kind of hang out and interact with them, and they'll always do some live recordings and stuff. So I'm over there for the free pizza because that's why I was there. I did not give two shits about who the celebrity was. And it's a guy named Scotty McCreery. And good dude. And it was funny because I'm talking to him. Everybody else is, you can tell they're trying to fluff him, but then you can tell they're also just not interested in him because they didn't know who he was really. And to be honest, I didn't really know who he was either. But he was on American Idol. But anyway, as far as his career goes, it was at this like kind of stagnant point. And I'm talking to him, just shooting the shit with him. And he's telling me, in all honesty, if this last promotional push doesn't work, I'm probably going to go back home and get my old job back. And I'm talking to him. I was like, what was your old job? He's all, well, I started doing, hanging drywall or sheetrock, I think is what he called it. And that's what he was going to do. And then thankfully he kept with it. in as far as the music thing goes, ended up hitting it big. So that was kind of an interesting moment. As I'm hammering Papa John's that was free, I'm just shooting the shit with some future celebrity. And I was like, well, don't give up, buddy. Okay, don't. Always remember me. Always remember me. Motherfucker didn't remember me. I don't see any checks coming in the mail, and I haven't heard one goddamn song mention me. I've never listened to his music. But I know he's good. I know he's really good. Speaking of country music, Phil Vassar. This one was funny. Phil Vassar is also a country musician. He was doing a thing with KYGO. And I'm walking down the halls of the radio stations, and it's Phil Vassar. And he had just come out of the restroom. And I'm like, oh my God, you're Phil Vassar. He's like, hey, friend, how's it going? And he goes to shake my hand. And I don't know why I did this. And it still kind of bugs me to this day because the dude was nothing but nice. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't shake your hand. He's like, what? I'm sorry. I was like, you just came out of the bathroom. I don't know how good of a job you did cleaning your hands. He said, well, you could always wash your hands after. It's like, nah. No, I swear to God. I tweeted that at him, that story, because I remembered it today. I'll be curious if he actually reads his, when people tweet at him, because I want to know if he remembers that story. Because it was so awkward, so dumb on my part. I'm like, what the fuck, hindsight? I'm like, I should have just washed my hands after. It's not like he's pissing and stuff on his hands. Another country artist, Clint Black, I almost ran him over. That dude is little. Holy cow. I'm running down the halls because our printer was broke, and I had to go to another printer, and I'm running the board for the fan, and I'm boom, boom. I'm doing my, Barry Sanders moves, and I cut the corner, and there's all of a sudden, I'm literally face to face. I am about an inch away from plowing into Clint Black and just throwing him against the wall on accident. And he's like, whoa there, fella. You almost got me. I'm like, oh my God, Clint Black. I'm so sorry. It was so funny. Good dude. Good dude. John Elway, legendary quarterback for the Denver Broncos, Hall of Famer for the Denver Broncos. I'm covering training camp for the Denver Broncos. Scott Hastings and Alfred Williams were doing a show out there. And I'm kind of standing in front of where they're broadcasting. And all of a sudden, John Elway walks up beside me and then comes up behind me and rubs my shoulders for, like a quick second. And he's like, and then he pats me on the shoulder. He's like, what's up, Duff? I'm like, oh, God. Oh, God. Anyway, had to get new shorts after that. Hey, I'm sorry. When's the last time John Elway rubbed your shoulders and called you by your name? Right? That was cool. I was like, that's fucking awesome. That's so neat. To the point where, like 20 years later, I'm still sharing that story. How cool is that? Todd Helton, Hall of Famer for the Colorado Rockies. Good dude. I'm covering spring training in Scottsdale, Arizona for the Rockies. If you've never done it, you got to do it once in your life. It's just a fun experience. And I'm in the clubhouse. I have a recorder, and my boss had asked me to get some liners from some of the guys. Hi, this is Carlos Gonzalez, and you're listening to blah, 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 right? And then Todd Helton, same thing, type of whatever, okay? And Todd, a lot of people don't realize he gets a little nervous. He tried to read the script, and it's like, I have it big, bold letters, nothing too fancy. And he's just having trouble. He's like, can I take your recorder in this page and go into a room and record this? I'm like, absolutely. If that helps, sure. So I stay. He goes and does it, comes back. And then we're just chit-chatting. And I think I'm with Brandon Cristal, who's with Gorilla Sports now. I want to say it was him because I kind of hung out with him a little bit because he knows, or he's not afraid. I should say this: he's not afraid to talk to anybody. Where at this point, I'm like, I hadn't really covered the Rockies at all, so I didn't really know them personally. So I'm in there, and it's like us three talking in a circle, and Helton is to my right, and I'm saying something, don't know what, and he's looking at me. And keep in mind, he's holding his bat from about mid length of the bat, like the midsection of the bat, and he's talking to me. He's looking at me, and he's nodding, and then all of a sudden he lets go of the grip of his bat, so it slides down, and now this is happening in a matter of a second. Slides down. Now he's holding essentially the butt end of the knob of the bat, and he goes boop, and he tips it out and essentially nut checks me. If I was wearing a cup, Todd, that would have been hilarious. But instead, I wasn't, and you hurt my you hurt my buddy. That reminds I didn't write this one down. Yeah, so that was funny because Todd's just like laughing. I'm like, oh, good. He's a good dude. And by the way, when I went back to listen to the stuff that he did on his own, he was still nervous. As much as that guy accomplished, as much as he did on the center stage, with thousands and thousands of people watching, he still would get nervous doing something little like that. And it just tells you, they're just like us. But it reminds me, I'm talking about the Todd Helton thing. There was a time where I almost hit Peyton Manning in the dick with my microphone because some snobby national media lady came over to the scrum that I was in because I'm holding the microphone out. He's kind of up, and I have the microphone pointed up to him, and she comes in and just barrels through and bumps my elbow, and I come within maybe 6 inches or so of hitting him in the junk, which if it would have happened, I would have been internationally famous for all the wrong reasons. But it would have been a great story. Would have been a great story. Almost did that. I've told you guys the story about the time I accidentally stuck my finger in Terrell Davis's mouth. This is before he officially got the word that he was going to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So it's kind of one of those, it was pre him going into the Hall of Fame. He was making his rounds on Radio Row in Minnesota, and I'm adjusting his headset, the headset that has headphones and an attached microphone, but the microphone kept twisting, and it's not like a 360 microphone like I have here. There's only like one part of it. I guess you could say like a quarter of the microphone is actually where you would speak into. The rest of it is just, surrounding it in insulation and whatever. And so it was an old headset, and it kept twisting on him. So we're in the commercial break, waiting to start the interview. I was like, hey, TD, I need to fix your headset real quick. Your microphone's all goofed up. He's like, oh, okay, no worries. Super nice guy. Super nice guy. So he just turns his head so I could reach his microphone. And I start to twist it, and I'm still trying to remember what way he moved. He moved his head. Somebody said something to him, and he moved his head, and my middle finger went into his mouth. And we both stop, and I pull my hand out of his mouth, and I am just frozen, and I go, I just stuck my finger in your mouth. And he looks at me, and no smile on his face, obviously. He's all, yes, you did. And then I look over to my left, and Schlereth and Evans, who are about to go on the air in about 5 seconds, are both sitting there with their jaws wide open. And they look at each other and go, well, we're talking about this. It was so funny. I want to track down the audio of that when they brought it up. But I don't think the fan has that posted anywhere. But if you ever find it, it's when we were in Minnesota, and it's a Terrell Davis interview with Schlereth and Evans. If you find it, let me know. Send me the link, and I can grab the audio. But that was funny. Lady Gaga. I remember Michael Berman, who's now a host on KYGO, came over to me, and you remember how I was telling you, like with Scotty McCreery, they're trying to get people over there as he records some stuff live and whatever, to fill the studio, to make them feel special. This is before she made it big, just before she exploded. And he said, hey, DeHuff, do you want to come over and sit in studio? Her name's Lady Gaga and blah, blah, blah. And I remember making fun of her name. Like, Lady Gaga? Really? No, I'm good. Are you fucking serious? I could have met Lady Gaga. And I don't know. I could have been an inspiration for her. Could have been. Rob Schneider, I met him 3 times, all 3 times. Complete asshole, not only to me, but to everybody he encountered. Major prick. And this was like probably about 15 to 20 years ago. And it was really disappointing because he was somebody I enjoyed watching when he was in movies with Adam Sandler or the comedy albums of Adam Sandler. And there's Schneider was on there and whatever. He was just part of that group, and I liked him. Then I meet him, and the first time I'm like, maybe he's just having a rough day. And then you meet him the second time, and he's a fucking prick too. And you're like, okay, that's no coincidence. And then the third time, Comedy Works said, hey, do you guys want Rob Schneider? And we said no, because he's an asshole to everybody. And then KYGO or somebody else had him on, and I see him in the hallway, and he's being a prick to everybody else again. I'm like, no. That's him. Speaking of comedians, Jay Mohr. Jay Mohr is funny. Super intelligent guy. And he's waiting in the control room with me and I think an intern. And he's listening to the show. And he's kind of chit-chatting with me and the intern. And it's awkward because, like I said, he's intimidating. He's such a smart, funny, quick-witted guy. And then all of a sudden he starts bagging on the Rockies because their majority color is purple. And I literally had no clue what to say. I'm like, yeah, that's... He's like, what other teams are purple? And then I didn't think about it till later. I'm like, the Vikings? How about that? Or I don't even know if it was at the time. The Utah Jazz? Whatever. Come on, man. It's not that big of a deal. But it was just like him being silly. And he's a funny, interesting guy. Barry Sanders, who I looked up to and wanted to play like when I was a kid, because I loved just how he moved. Always fun to watch him. I'm covering... This might have been in... Oh, God. This might have been Houston. Maybe. I'm covering the Super Bowl, and he's making his rounds, interviewing people, or getting interviewed by people. And we're waiting for the green light to get him as far as to start the interview, because we're finishing up a commercial break. And he's just sitting there. And I think he was going to be on with Sandy. I'm not really sure. But I said, hey, Barry, I don't do this, but I just want to say I loved watching you growing up, and I wanted to be just like you when it came to football. And I swear to God, guys, he looks right at me with the most disgusted look on his face, and he goes, but you're white. And then he looks away like he wasn't laughing. He wasn't joking. I'm like, oh. Well, that's why you don't meet your heroes. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I was like, yeah, who cares? Good observation, buddy. But doesn't mean that I didn't want to play like you. Fuck. Ron Perlman, the actor, the guy that played Hellboy, and it was in Sons of Anarchy, I believe. he and I bonded in New Orleans because he was looking for a good place to go take a dump. he's he's like he's like um he and I were just chit-chatting before the interview. And then Mike and Joel I think it was Joel Klatt pop on, and they're just like, "Hey, Ron." And Ron kept looking over at me and like shaking his head like, "What are these guys doing?" Like it's totally like jerking them, right? They're just totally jerking them. They're not having a real conversation. And you could tell it kind of irritated Ron a little bit. So then after the interview, Ron asked me, and Mike was right there. He's all, "Where's a good place to, or where's a good shitter around here?" Something like that, right? And Mike goes, "Oh, you want to go to that one right over there, right across the way." And I was like, "Oh, no, Ron, no. You don't want to go to that one." He's like, "Why?" "Everybody uses that one, and it smells like piss in there. It's disgusting. Go to this one over here. Nobody knows it's there. You go this way, and it's right there. Clean, quiet. Nobody's going to bug you." Okay. He goes, leaves, comes back. I don't know how much time. And he comes and finds me. He's all, "Thanks, man." Then we were talking about some random shit after that. It was so funny. And then then throughout his tour, or like he's going around every now and then, we'd cross paths, and he's all, "Hey man, how's it going?" Like he's such a good dude. Big, I don't think he's really taller than me. He's just a bigger dude than me. It's just cool guy. Cool guy. I'm not going to tell you about the time that I was hanging out in after dark in New Orleans with two legendary football players, and I ended up lighting a pipe for somebody. He's all, "Hey, I can't light this lighter," and we're like behind some brick wall in the middle of New Orleans at night. And I'm like, "Oh, well, here, let me." So I'm like lighting I was like, "Okay, you got it? You got it? You got it? There you go." Not crack, it was weed. Jeez. Anyway, that was funny. That was hilarious. Had to tell my wife's the only one that knows that story. So it's funny. You can peel that out of me with drinks. Okay. Anyway, guys, that's it for the news. Those are my random celebrity encounters. I appreciate you guys popping on. Interact with the show any way you can. Leave a review, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the show. You guys are amazing. Have a wonderful weekend. It's the Hup Uncensored. Let's keep moving forward. I'll talk to you next time.